All right, today's lesson is about solving equations using your graphing calculator. So this cannot be done. I take that back. It can be done without, but I'm teaching you how to use your calculator, so there's important calculator skills we're learning today. All right, now, if we were to have this equation normally on number 1, and you don't have to write this down, you just follow along, I would subtract 2x from both sides, get 4x, add 8 to both sides, get 20. I'm just doing this quickly. So when I divide by 4, x would equal 5, right? So that's what we're trying to get up here for an answer. But now we're trying to do it with a graph and show it works with a graph. So let's see if we can do that. So you need to go to your graphing calculator. We're going to go to the graphing. So to do that, you need to go to the y equals. And if there's anything in there, you need to kind of arrow down and clear all of that out. Whoops, that's not where I want to be. Okay, down here at the bottom, it's going to show my key history so you can see what I'm typing if you get behind. So the first thing you want to do, the first side of that equation was 6x minus 8. So you want to put that in equation 1. So I'm going to do 6. The x is over here next to the alpha button. X minus 8. Do not use this negative sign down here at the bottom near the enter. That will give you the wrong answer. Okay. Arrow down, and then on the other side I have 2x plus 12. Now I don't know exactly where they're going to intersect. I'm assuming the x will be 5, but the y could be just about anything. So I don't know where to start to look. So what I'm going to do is I always want to start at a standard 10 by 10 window. So to get that, I'm going to hit the zoom button, and then I want a standard window, which is option 6. So I'm going to hit the 6 button. And now on my graph is a 10 by 10 window. So there's my first graph in blue, and here's my second graph. Okay, well, I can see they're going to meet up, but they don't meet up on my graph in the picture. So I'm going to need to adjust the window to figure out where they meet up. So to do that, there's a button called Window. So I'm going to click the Window button. Well, let's go back real fast so you can see something. We know they're going to intersect in this top right quadrant, so I need to adjust the positive x and the positive y. We don't need to make it more negative or more for the x or the y. That's not going to help. I need to make the x is more bigger and the y is bigger. So when I go to my window, I don't care about the x minimum, but I want the x maximum bigger. Let's double it. Let's put it at 20 and see what happens. The scale means they're going to count by 1. I'm not going to adjust that. The y minimum I don't want to change because I know it's not negative. Let's change the y maximum to 20. And then hit graph and see what happens. Okay, there are my two. Oh, dang, we missed it again. But it's really close. So we make it just a little bit bigger. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to change my window again. Now I'm going to change my x to 25. And go down. My y max, 25. Again, I'm not changing the minimums or adjusting the scale. And then I'm going to hit graph. And boom, they meet. All right. Now, the answer is at this intersection point up here. So I need to calculate what that intersection point is. So to do that, to calculate, do you see above the trace button up at the top? Okay. It says calculate. So I'm going to hit second and then the trace button. But by hitting second, I'm actually getting the blue stuff above. And the intersection is option 5. Okay, and now I need to get my cursor. Right now I know it's on the blue graph because it's all highlighted in blue and it says Y1. I need to get my cursor really close to that intersection. Well, if I move to the right, my Y keeps going up 38, 40. My graph didn't go up that far, so going to the right didn't work. So now I need to go down. Oh, we're getting closer. Getting closer. Oh, there it is. So I want to get my cursor really close to the intersection, then I'm going to hit enter. Now it says, where do you think it is on the red graph? Well, right there again. So I'm going to hit enter again. And so what's your best guess? It's still there. Boom. And now it gives you the answer. Now we're not worried about the y. We only want the x. So the x is 5. So on here, my answer is x is 5. Now I do want us to do a sketch of the two graphs. So one crosses down here and one crosses up there. These are a sketch. Okay, so one crosses there, and one crosses here, and there's our answer. It's a sketch. Now these obviously were just x's, so they were going to be lines. Now let's think about what happens on number 2. On number 2, with this x squared, I mean, we haven't graphed it yet, but wouldn't that be a parabola? And then 1/2 x plus 4, wouldn't that be a line? So this time, how many intersection points should we be looking for? 2, right? Now we have to graph it to figure that all out. But here we go. So now I'm going to go back to my y equals, and I need to clear everything that's in there. And then go to my y equals. So the first equation was parentheses, x plus 3, close my parentheses. And now I need the squared. So I can just hit this button over on the side that says x squared, and boom, it's squared. On the other side, I need to do the fraction. Now there's a couple of ways to do this, but the most efficient one is to hit the alpha button, and then the y equals, and then I want option 1, which is numerator over denominator. So I can just hit enter, and in the numerator I want a 1, scroll down to the denominator I want a 2, go to the right so I can write my x plus 4. Now, I adjusted the window last time, and I don't know what this window is going to look like. And I always want to start with the standard window. So I'm going to go zoom, and I'm going to choose option 6 for a standard window, and that will give me a 10 by 10, and then I can see where to adjust it if I need to, or if I got what I need. Perfect. There's my parabola, there's my line. If you wanted to, you can even sketch it right now. There's my parabola, there's my line. Very good. I'm going to have 2 intersection points. Well, let's figure out what those intersections are. It is not good enough to hit trace. You have to do the calculation. So to do that, I'm going to do second, calculate, which is the trace button. I want an intersection, which is option 5. There's my cursor. If I move to the right, oh, it's going too far. I got to go to the left. Get it really close to my intersection. That's probably close. Hit enter, enter. What's my guess? That's my guess. All right, now when you do this, we're going to round to the nearest thousands. So nearest thousands means 3 decimal places. So when I'm writing that answer, I'm going to have negative 1.149. Because that 2 is less than 5, it doesn't round up. So one of my answers is going to be negative 1.149. And I'm going to have a second answer because there's 2 intersection points. So now I'm going to go back and do another calculation. So I hit second, calculation. I want option 5. And now I'm going to move my cursor over and get it really close. It's pretty good. Hit enter 3 times. Once for the blue, once for the red, once for the guess. And now it tells me again. And now I know my answer is negative 4.35. It's not going to be 0 because it's 7 rounds it up to 1 because we're rounding to the nearest thousands. So we have 3 decimal places. So my next answer is going to be negative 0.351. All right, let's try and put the next equations in. So I'm going to go back to my y equals. I'm going to clear out what I have. My first equation on the left side is 2x squared minus 5. So I have 2x, and remember the squared is over here, squared, and then minus 5. I'm going to do minus 5. Arrow down. On the other side of the equation, I have negative x squared plus 2x minus 1. Now, if we think about these are both x squareds. So they're both parabolas. One of them starts with a negative, means it's got to be an upside down parabola. Okay, we have no idea where they're going to intersect, so we want to start at a standard window. So I'm going to do zoom 6. Let's see what happens. You see that yellow circle? That means your calculator is working. Don't touch anything while it's working. There's one parabola. And there's 2. Oh, fabulous. We can see both intersection points at one time. Let's graph those to make sure we've got them right. So the blue parabola was down here, and the red one was somewhere like that. Okay, again, these are sketches. This is not an exact. I want to see that you understand the shape and that you can tell how many times it intersects. All right, now to calculate it. We're going to do second, calculate, and I want an intersection, which is choice 5. It is not good enough just to hit the trace button. I'm going to keep saying that over and over again. Okay, get it right on there. Enter 3 times. And boom. So my first one is going to be negative 8.6. That 8 rounds up to a 9. Okay. So my first answer is going to be negative 0.869. And notice I'm only recording the X. It's not a X and a Y, it's just the X. Okay, now I'm going to do my next one. So I'm going to do second, calculate, and now I've got to move the mouse over. Oh, I got to do option 5. Move the little cursor over. So I'm going to the right. Don't get too click happy because it'll shoot off your screen. Hit enter 3 times. And I'm going to round to the nearest thousandth. That gives me 1.535. So I'm going to go to my other screen. 1.535. Okay, let's try the next one. Now, as I'm looking at this next one, 3x minus 4, I know is going to be a line. The absolute value is going to be a v. So that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator. Y equals, clear these both out. Go up here. So my first one is 3x minus 4. 3x minus 4. Go down. My second one, okay, now I have the fraction. So remember, if you want to write this down, to get the fraction in your calculator, you're going to hit alpha and then y equals, and that will give you a fraction. Okay, so we're going to do alpha, y equals, and then I want option 1. Okay, this time my fraction is 1/2. Same fraction. Okay, now I need an absolute value. And the absolute value, I'm going to go to the math option. And then I'm going to go over to numbers. And my first option is absolute value. So I'm going to hit enter. And there's my absolute value. And I want the absolute value of x minus 5. Okay, and I can arrow out. That's out of the outside value. Again, I don't know where on the graph it's going to be. So I'm going to go to zoom, option 6 for standard. And see what I get. There's my line. And there's my absolute value. Now, this is interesting. This absolute value is really wide. Looking at this picture, are these going to intersect more than once? They are not. They're only going to intersect once time. So we have this big wide absolute value, and then we have a line that goes through it. So this is going to be the only intersection point. All right, let's see if we can calculate it. So we have second, calculate. We need option 5, and then I'm going to move that cursor over so it's right on the intersection. A little too much. Hit enter 3 times, and I need to do to the nearest thousandths, so that's 1.857. Okay, so my answer is going to be 1.857. All right, 2 more to graph. Let's look at the last option, or the second to last option. Y equals, clear those out. For the next one, I have an absolute value again. So to get the absolute value, I'm going to hit math. I'm going to go over to number. Option 1 is absolute value. And in this absolute value, I've got x plus 2. I need to go to the right to get out of the absolute value and then do minus 6. On the other side, I've got a quadratic. So I'm going to have a v and a u. So I'm going to have x squared and then minus 7x. Whoops, I hit the wrong thing. That's okay. I can just go back. Well, I could clear it. Just clear the whole thing if I'm not sure. So I'm going to do x squared minus 7x and then minus 2. All right, always start at the standard window, zoom 6. Okay, there's my absolute value. And now I need my parabola. Okay, and I can see my 2 intersection points, so I need to find it. So second, calculate, option 5. Oh good, my cursor's right where I need it to be. Enter 3 times. So one intersection point is 2, 5, 8. The other intersection point, second, calculate, intersection, and move on over. Almost there. There we go. Enter 3 times. And my next one is 7.74. That 1 gets rounded up to a 2. Okay, and now also you got to remember what the picture looks like because we got to graph it too. All right, so when I go over, I'm going to graph it, and I had the V and I had my parabola. That's a terrible picture. Okay, so my 2 answers would be 0.258 and 7.742. All right, last one. So we're going to go to y equals, clear everything out. Now let's see if we can get it in our calculator. So we're going to have x squared plus 6x minus 8. On the next line, got absolute value, math, go over to number, option 1, so hit enter, absolute value of x minus 1, but I need to scroll to the right to get out of the absolute value and then add the plus 3. I always want to start with the standard window, so zoom 6. There's my parabola. And where's my absolute value? There it is. Okay, now I can see one of the intersection points, but I can't see the other. So before I change anything, I want to figure out this intersection point here before I start moving things around. Or I can move things around. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm going to do second calculate. I want an intersection, and I'm going to move this up here. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter 3 times, and I see that my first intersection point is 1.531. Okay, now I got to change my window. As I'm thinking about my window, I need it more to the left, which is negative x, and I need it more to the up, which is positive y. So I need to change my negative x and my positive y. So I'm going to go to my window. So I'm going to change my negative x to negative 20. Leave everything else the same. And I'm going to change my positive y to 20. And then I'm going to graph it again and see what happens. Okay, here's my parabola. And oh, look at that. Now I can see both intersection points. Okay, so if we were to graph it, my parabola, and then I've got my V. All right, we already calculated this intersection point on the right, so now I need to do the one on the left. So I'm going to do second calculate, intersection. All right, now we've got to move it over. Where is it? There it is. Oh, perfect. 2, 3, and I get my second answer, and my second answer is negative 8.424. And so now I can just record these 2 answers, and I'm done. So the first one was 1.531, and the second one was negative 8.424. Okay? Notice I only record the x. I'm not worried about the y. That's it.